Tonight is prayer night, and we will have a prayer meeting here shortly. But as we normally do on prayer night meeting, we're going to have a little mini message. We have been dealing with the fears of praying, specifically corporate prayer or praying with someone else or praying in public. And last time we covered shortly I don't know what to say. And we were mainly dealing with God and us. That God knows our heart. He can understand our language better than we can. Sometimes all we can do is groan, and the Spirit groans with us, and He knows His will and our heart, and it all works. So you don't have to worry that you don't know what to say to God. You can just talk to Him like you would your best friend. But that doesn't cover everything. I know without doubt that at least half the people here are introverts. I've taken the test and taken the test and taken the test, and I am so split down the middle, nobody can figure out which one it is. And what that means is there are times when I don't want to talk to you. I'm just being honest. I don't want to be around anybody. Leave me alone. I need to recharge. I need time alone by myself and time alone with God. I don't need people. Leave me alone. I'm a hermit today. But then there are other times where if I stay alone too much, I'm going to go crazy and I need that interaction. So I'm kind of mixed. And just because you may be an extrovert doesn't mean you're comfortable praying in front of people, because that's another aspect. Plus, there is another thing that has nothing to do with our personality, introvert, extrovert, whatever, and that is we're scared of what other people will be thinking. How are they going to judge me? What are they going to think? What are they going to say? Well, I'm not as good of a Christian as they are, so maybe they think I have no business opening my mouth at all. Well, I'll tell you right now, first off, 90% of what we imagine other people are thinking about us, they're not. We're projecting our own fears and insecurities on them. Chances are, they're not thinking about you at all. You're not that big of a deal. Now, if I'm praying, I'm drawing attention people may be thinking. But if their heart's in the right place, they might be thinking about the subject or the words that you're saying so that they can enter into agreement, but they're also praying too. And if their heart's not in the right place, what do you care? Now, that's easy for me to say. Who cares what people think? Oh, that's so easy to say. It's absolutely horrible for me to try to walk out, because I am by nature a people pleaser. It's hard for some people to believe, because you wouldn't have believed it by my life, because I didn't please people. But that wasn't because it wasn't my nature. That was because I understood that I couldn't do it. No matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, I failed all the time. I couldn't please people. So, fine, if I can't make them happy, I'll make them mad. And something along those lines. And that was the wrong attitude. But there's that aspect of people. So sometimes we worry so much about what other people are thinking that we don't want to step out. Ones I hate are when God gives me a subject or like 3 words. And I know that's not the whole prayer. God, what on earth do you want? I don't want to step out and just say 3 words. What if the rest of the words don't come? It's scary. I get that. It scares me sometimes. Even as I pray before or after a message, sometimes I have to struggle with that block out. So tonight I'm just going to focus real quick on some truths about that and some things that help me that might help you. And that is to realize that it doesn't matter. Now, obviously, if you have some reason that you can't actually speak, that's one thing. But it really probably doesn't matter how introverted you are or how concerned you are with the opinions of others. There are times when that's all going to go away. I saw a video the other day. A young man, college student, in front of some off-campus dorm apartments where he lived, and he also did a work study type thing there for the college to help him, and one of his duties was cleaning the trash and stuff from around the property. So he lived and worked at the same place. And he was stopped by an officer who, for whatever reason, decided he didn't think he belonged there and needed to check and see if he was trespassing. The young man complied with the officer to an extent and with the law, but the officer kept pushing, and now you're stepping beyond the bounds of your authority. You are now starting to detain me for no reason. You're fishing, you're doing this, you're doing that. You're starting to violate my Fourth Amendment rights. My right to not have to deal with you if I haven't committed a crime or been suspected of dealing with a crime. Now, I don't point this out to talk about societal issues. There are some issues with our law enforcement and justice system that need to be revamped, but that's not the point. The point is that as this guy got more and more, wait a minute, I'm in danger here, because if this guy's already stepping on my rights, where's this going to go? He began trying to withdraw, and he couldn't. He wasn't allowed. He got scared, which is understandable. And you know what he did? He made a fool of himself. He started hollering and yelling right there in the parking lot, drawing attention from people in that apartment. Hey, this is what's going on. I need help. He started crying out for help. Look out the window. See what's happening. This officer has his gun out. Record this. Hold this guy accountable. Help me. Get me out of this. He was not worried that people might think he was crazy. He wasn't worried if people might think he was actually a criminal. He wasn't worried about what anybody thought. He knew he couldn't save himself. He needed some help, and he needed it fast, and he made a scene. You know, he didn't do everything 100% right, and that's not the point. The point is that when you are in enough trouble and you are desperate for help, you stop worrying about what somebody who's not going to help you might think and start doing whatever you need to do to get the attention of the one that will help. Another example, similar but different, a woman at a beach with her son who was young. She can't swim. There's nothing wrong with going to the beach when you can't swim. It's nice to sit on the sand. It's nice to watch the waves. But when you got your kid with you, you might run into a problem. And sure enough, kid goes out there, gets caught in the undertow. Now he's being pulled out. He's in danger of drowning. This woman running through the crowds of people on that beach, screaming and hollering, trying to get the lifeguard's attention. My son is drowning. Save my son. She's not worried about looking like a fool. She's not worried about what anybody might think. She's not concerned about all the people not helping. Her eyes are on the lifeguard. And her only attention is, here's the need. I need it. I need it. I'm desperate for it. Not concerned about how this might look if somebody, instead of helping, grabs a camera and films me. I'm worried about my child drowning. Now here's one that's a totally different thing. A kinder one, a nicer one. We've all seen the videos more than likely. Soldier off on deployment. He's been gone a while. There's been a separateness and a distance. There may be some communication. Thank the Lord. Our military that we have today does not have to deal with what they had to deal with even 20 years ago when you were off on deployment for 6 months. There's Skype, there's Zoom, there's Facebook video. There are ways to actually see each other from a distance, but it's not the same. And that soldier gets home, and you see a spouse or a child filled with joy, so excited at the presence of this loved one. They don't care. 14, 15-year-old kids that are telling their mama to drop them off half a block from school because they don't want to get seen dropped off by their mama, are getting up in the middle of classes, not worrying about their snickering friends, and running to the door for a hug. That embarrassment is gone, at least for now. Not saying it doesn't return. Why? Because the love and joy over the presence of the one being observed overrides it all. Oh, I'm so glad you're home. I've missed you so much. I love you. Grown fathers kissing their 16-year-old sons on the cheek and the forehead and holding them in front of their friends, and no shame, no embarrassment, just rejoicing in that presence. Now let's go scriptural just a little bit, real quick. Elisha had this time where he had a family that he went to stay with when he was ministering in a certain area, and he wanted to bless them. And he asked the woman, "What would you like?" And she didn't say anything, and his little assistant said, "She hasn't been able to have a son. She hadn't been able to have a child. She's barren." So Elisha says, "Hey, God's going to give you a son." And she says, "Don't do this to me. Don't tease me. Don't, if this isn't real, don't get my hopes up, because nothing hurts you more than hope deferred." Elisha said, No, you're good. You'll have a son. And she did. And the boy began to grow up, and he was in the field working with his father, and he suffered what appeared to be a heat stroke. His head began to hurt. He went in and lied down, and there he died. And the mother immediately, "I got to go see the man of God. There is a problem here that I cannot fix." Now, there's a lot of different points you can make from this story. Narrative, it is true story. But she went by her husband. He said, "Why do you need to go see the man of God? It's not Sunday." That's not what he said. He said it's not a feast day. But you get the point. It's not time to go to church. Why you want to go see the man of God? She said, "It is well." Now that is not her lying. But have you ever stopped to wonder, what if God didn't raise that boy? The words that came out of your mouth might be real embarrassing in about an hour. You said it was well and my son was dead. What's well about that? She wasn't lying. And it was a matter of faith. It's going to be fine. I just need to get to the one who gave me the son in the first place. But there's another aspect to it. I don't need to stand here for 3 hours trying to discuss what we need to do or what the situation is or what happened or what went wrong. I just need to get to God. So she said, "It is well." And she kept going. And then Elisha's assistant gets there and he goes, "Hey, are you okay?" "It's well. Bye." Because he's not the one she needs to deal with. She got to the prophet. You notice, if you read that story, she doesn't say, "My son died and I need your help." She said, "Didn't I say don't tease me and deceive me?" Come on, you promised that you weren't going to jerk this hope away from me. Keep your word. But the point is that she wasn't worried about what might happen if what she said when she said "it is well" didn't match what everybody in the world would call well. She just spoke what was on her heart, that God would provide the answer, and she kept going. The blind man crying out, Son of David, have mercy on me, because he had a need. They actively came and said, hey, you're causing a disturbance. Shut up. Don't you understand that you are lower caste? You are a beggar. You don't belong with Jesus. Be quiet. You aren't qualified. You're not a Pharisee. You're not a rabbi. You're not a righteous person. And he cried out all the louder, Son of David, have mercy on me. And last one, no one even spoke as far as him was recorded, but the 4 men who carried their friend. You understand that whether you're physically around or not, when you interact in intercessory prayer, you are carrying your friend or your family member, your loved one, to God. They carried, but the crowd was in the way. They didn't sit back and quietly. They weren't worried about, this was not their house. They tore the roof off, literally, to lower him down. Talk about not caring what people think. Now, I'm not saying those little ideas there are going to give you 100% faith and victory over not being being afraid to say something. But what I'm saying is, keep your eyes on Jesus. Put your attention on the one you need to make contact with. Either, I just need to know you more. I need to love you and be loved by you and experience your presence because it's been too long. I feel like I've been on deployment and I need refreshment of your presence. And I don't care if everybody in the room is snickering. I love you. I love you, Lord. And then there are other times there is a need. There is a desperate need that only God can make. Oh, goodness. When we get desperate enough for the solution, we'll stop worrying about who's listening. Sons, Lord, save my son. Save my daughter. God, we need healing. God, we need help. I don't know what to say. Help. It's fine. The people who are in tune with your heart and the Spirit will cry out with you. There will be no shame. The people who are not right with the Spirit have no business being there in the first place unless they're going to get right by letting God have control. And if they let God have control, they're going to stop thinking whatever. And if they don't, God will deal with that. But it doesn't matter if they all reject you because you stuttered or you stumbled over your words or you didn't know what to say, because God hears your heart and He loves it when we approach Him. He loves it. It's amazing. And it's okay. It's okay not to know what to say. It's okay. There is a prayer meeting that Leah and I participate in from afar sometimes, and I haven't seen this person in a while, but there is a person there who has some sort of speech impediment. And I'll be honest with you, I have yet to understand a single word that has come out of this person's mouth. There may be people there who can, because they know this person well enough. I had a friend when I was a teenager who had had a stroke, and lots of people couldn't but I could, because I was spent enough time that I could hear it. But I can't understand. No hesitation. It sounds like noise to me, but it sounds like noise from the heart. And I think it's one of the most beautiful things I've heard. And I love hearing this person pray. And I'm like, God, I don't know, but I'm in agreement. If it's your will, let's do this thing. And that's a legitimate reason. Nobody's going to be able to understand me anyway. No. Lord, I'm not worried about these other people. I'm here with you. I'm a homesick soldier, and I need my daddy. I am in desperate need of help. I need my daddy. God, there is this situation of evil or pain or loss or whatever is going on in the world that I know you have a heart for, and they need your help, and I'm bringing them to you. And don't worry what somebody else may think. Finally, and I'll shut up and we'll pray. If you're not good on a bicycle and you've just had your training wheels off, there's probably some fear every time you go to take a turn, every time you do hit a bump. Oh, I'm going to fall, and you're scared. But the more you ride, the better you get, the more comfortable you get. Before long, your mom's on the front porch going, "Don't jump on that." That's what happened with me anyway. I know it's scary sometimes, but you want to get better at it? You want to get over that fear? Nike had it right that far. Just do it. Just do it. The more you do it, the more comfortable you become. So, that's dealing with the fear of what people will think without having to preach a whole message on why we shouldn't care what people think, because I know we're human and we will. Lord, I ask that you bless this time, that you would seal this word in our hearts so that even when we're afraid, we will be desperate enough or rejoicing enough over your presence or seeking your presence enough that we won't care what people think. But when we do, help us, give us the grace and the strength to push in. Lord, I ask that you bless this time of prayer. We want to know you more. We want your revival. We want your awakening. We want a move of God in this place and in our lives and in our families and among our friends. In Jesus' name.